Great. We're gonna get started in about a minute. Just the members of Congress are walking over right now. Thank you all so much.
There we go. That's a safe bet. I don't know. No. Sometimes you just.
Okay. Okay, great. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful morning. My name is Rebecca Shi, and I am the CEO of the American Business Immigration Coalition Action. We are a national bipartisan coalition of over 1,700 CEOs and business associations advocating for common sense, long-term immigration and workforce solutions. First, I want to thank the Problem Solvers Caucus, which is chaired by Congressman Tom Suozzi and Brian Fitzpatrick. They're walking over as we speak. The Housing Affordability Tour with the Structural Building Components Association, the leaders that you see behind me, because housing across America is unaffordable. And the answer is the Dignity Act. Right now, our workforce faces a crisis that is actively driving up the cost of housing. The U.S. housing market is short an estimated 3.7 million homes. We cannot build our way out of this shortage because the construction industry relies on immigrants. Over 26% of overall construction workforce are immigrants, and over 50% of all critical trades like drywallers and roofers are immigrants. The aggressive enforcement, the court challenges to temporary protected status, and severe DACA work authorization delays are removing thousands of long-term, highly vetted, and skilled professionals from the construction workforce. The result? Housing projects stall, costs skyrocket, housing supply decreases, and Americans are forced to pay the high prices for their homes. The Dignity Act is absolutely vital to lowering home prices for Americans by providing a legal pathway and stable work permits for long-term contributors. It secures the skilled labor pipeline required to ramp up home building. The president has successfully secured the border. It is past time to secure our workforce. Together with the Structural Building Components Association, we are kicking off the Housing Affordability Tour with events across the country to build support for the Dignity Act. Let's protect our economy, build quality and affordable housing, and lower costs for all Americans. Thank you, and next I am honored to introduce the president of the Structural Building Components Association, Larry Dix II. Larry?
Yay, yay! Well, good morning. Thank you for having me today. My name is Larry Dix. I'm the president of the Structural Building Association. Components Association. I myself am a component manufacturer in Virginia. It's a 26-year family business. We have truly enjoyed having and doing substantial work. Spent the majority of my career helping provide the structural elements that frame America's homes and supporting the workforce that makes it all possible. The SBCA represents a massive, quiet engine for American housing. The industry comprises of over 1,300 manufacturers in the United States, employing nearly 40,000 individuals and also revenue of $10 billion. The vast majority of our members are small, family-owned businesses just like mine. Every single day, we work very hard, hand in hand with builders, to frame homes more efficiently, safely, and cost-effectively. In fact, approximately 73% of homes are built with trusses in America, manufactured by companies like ours. Off-site component manufacturing helps builders use labor more efficiently, reduces material cost, and shortens construction timelines, and ultimately helps make housing more attainable for the American dream, affordability. But we cannot build these number of homes without a strong, reliable workforce. The reality is that foreign-born workers play an indispensable role throughout the entire supply chain, including the component manufacturing facilities. and on job sites across the country. These workers help our members meet demand, keep projects moving, and support local economies. This is why today SBCA is incredibly proud to partner with American Business Immigration Coalition to officially endorse the Bipartisan Dignity Act and launch our National Housing Affordability Tour. Through the tour, we are going to open the doors to all of our facilities across the country to members of Congress. We want policymakers to see firsthand how new homes are built, the workforce challenges our members face, and the direct connection between workforce stability, housing supply, and consumer affordability. If we are serious about increasing housing supply and lowering costs for our families, we must support policies like the Dignity Act that help ensure the construction industry has the workforce it needs to build homes. To that end, I would like to extend our deepest thoughts and thank yous for the champions who are leading this charge on this vital bipartisan, and thank you to all the Congress for doing all this, the House. And I will turn this over to our advocacy chair, Chris Tachi.
We're gonna just have the co-chair of the Problem Solvers Caucus, because we're so grateful for their support of the Dignity Act, Mr. Tom Suozzi.
Okay, thank you, Rebecca. So just so everybody knows, the Problem Solvers are 46 members of Congress, 23 Democrats, 23 Republicans who try to break through some of the toxicity here in Washington, D.C. to actually find common ground to get things done. And one of the things that we've done recently as a group is we've endorsed the Dignity Act. We have to recognize the fact that I'm a Democrat, and I'll say something that most Democrats probably wouldn't want me to say. But the president was right that we needed to secure the border. The president was right that we need to go after violent criminals. The president was right that we need to go after the cartels, but he's squandering that success by not addressing these very real problems that exist in our society right now, with so many families getting broken up, so many people that go to work every single day, work hard, have been here for 10, 20, 30 years, and are living in fear, and they can't do the jobs that are necessary for us to secure the workforce in the United States of America. Let's build a coalition of people like Rebecca Shee and the American Business Immigration Council that are working together to say business needs these workers, the economy needs these workers. Let's bring in badges. Let's bring in law enforcement who says we don't want to push people underground so they're afraid of law enforcement. Business, badges, and the Bible. Let's bring people who actually care about other people, who want people to be treated with human dignity. My father was born in Italy. He lived a great American success story. First kid in the neighborhood to go to college, fought in World War II, got the Distinguished Flying Cross as a navigator on a B-24, came back and went to Harvard Law School. Couldn't get a job at a law firm because the Italians were discriminated against in the 1940s. Even though he went to Harvard Law School, he had to start his own law firm in our hometown of Glen Cove. And at 28 years old, he ran for city court judge of our hometown of Glen Cove and became the youngest judge in the history of New York State. This is a great country, and immigrants are such an essential part of this country, of making this country the great country that it is and will always be. But to do that, we need to embrace these valuable people that live in our communities, that do the hard work, that make our communities work. So I'm so excited to be here today with the American Business Immigration Council, with Maria Salazar, who's one of the main sponsors of the Dignity Act, my colleague Laura Gillen from Long Island, who shares a lot of the same feelings that we all do. Let's all work together. Let's build this coalition, business being such an important part of the coalition, to say we need to secure the workforce and to treat people with dignity. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and we're so grateful for the Bipartisan Problem Solver Caucus's support. Next, I'm honored to introduce Congresswoman Laura Gillen from Long Island, New York.
Thank you. Good morning. It is a pleasure to be here with all of you this morning. I'm Congresswoman Laura Gillen from New York, and I came to Congress to work across the aisle to fix our broken immigration system. I'm proud to have helped introduce the Bipartisan Dignity Act, which will reform immigration, grow our economy, and create jobs. Thank you to ABIC Action and SBCA for organizing this event today. Your support for the Dignity Act shows how this bill will help benefit so many key industries across our economy. I was proud to be an original co-sponsor of the Dignity Act, led by Congresswomen Escobar, and Salazar, and I'm glad that the Problem Solvers Caucus has officially thrown its support behind this bill. It's rare to get bipartisan agreement on anything these days, especially a hot-button topic like immigration. After 30 years of inaction from both parties, this bill offers the common sense solutions to solve the crisis that is hurting the American people. We cannot afford to not take action. Right now, we're facing a construction workforce shortage and sky-high housing costs. The Dignity Act will help deliver relief to this situation. On Long Island, we feel this crisis acutely. The average cost of a Long Island home has skyrocketed past $700,000, and in many neighborhoods, it's even higher. We see the heartbreaking reality that seniors, young adults, and working families cannot afford to stay where they grew up and raise their families. They are being priced out of their own communities because our housing supply cannot meet demand. We have the lack of opportunities in the workforce to build new homes, projects are delayed, supply plummets, and costs skyrocket even further. The Dignity Act provides a renewable work authorization for hardworking, tax-paying, vetted individuals who have already been here for more than 5 years. This is not a fast pass to legal status for businesses or workers to abuse. That's why this bill mandates E-Verify to ensure that businesses hire workers legally. It will strengthen our workforce and the construction industry, helping meet demand and drive down the cost of new homes and new projects. Recently, I've heard from countless local business owners who are the backbone of Long Island's economy, and they all are telling me the same thing. Without a stable workforce, they cannot sustain their businesses or grow. That is why the Dignity Act is so critical. The American people are tired of inaction to fixing our immigration system. They want a secure border and a tough but fair process for those who follow the law and give back to our country. The Dignity Act delivers both, helping our businesses, our communities, and making it easier to build more housing so the next generation can afford the American dream of owning a home. Thank you so much, and I turn it back to you.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman, especially also your leadership on TPS with Congressman Lawler, so really appreciate it. Next, I'm honored to introduce the champion, the chief sponsor of the Dignity Act, Congresswoman Maria Salazar.
Thank you. Thank you. Pleasure to be here with the members of the news media. Thank you very much for showing up. That way our colleagues know what's happening, leadership in both parties. Delighted to be here with Tom Suozzi, who has been instrumental in making this bill have legs on the United States Congress, showing it to the problem solvers, showing it to the other side of the aisle, to making it a very very strongly bipartisan piece of legislation. So thank you very much for your leadership, and delighted to be working with you. And to Congressman Carvajal, who's behind me, thank you very much for joining us. Same to Laura Gillen. We need a bipartisan vehicle, piece of legislation, so our President Trump, can have an instrument so he can put an end to this immigration chaos that we've had for 40 years. It's time to fix the immigration situation. And now that there are so many sectors that are affected by not having clear laws on the books, and one of them is the construction sector, the construction industry. I'm just going to give few remarks and give some stats that will prove to you that what we're trying to do is good for the American average citizen. The Dignity Act is a housing affordability bill disguised as an immigration legislation. You cannot build 4 million homes without the workers needed to build them. Every time construction projects are delayed, it means higher prices for the average American family who wants to own a home right now. Because having your own house or your apartment or your home is part of the American dream. So I always say that this is the Dignity Act to give dignity back to that average American family. Not only to those immigrants, the illegals who want to stay in this country with no path to citizenship. This is a bill for the average American worker. Reality is that 33% of American construction workers are foreign born. That is not theory, that's reality. 1/3, 33% in construction, 50% in agricultural. There are many sectors that are hardly impacted or highly impacted by the foreign hands in our country. The more we remove those hands from those sectors, specifically from the construction area, building those homes are going to be more expensive. The Dignity Act is very simple. It helps build quicker, build better, and build more affordable. More homes, more structures for people to live in. You know, affordability is now the word of the moment, right? So we want to bring affordability to the average American person, the average American family. Well, the more hands you have in that construction site, the quicker is going to get built and the cheaper is going to be able to be put in the market. Amnesty is not dignity. Amnesty is what illegals have now. Amnesty is what's happening right now. Free roads, free schools, free hospitals, where we're giving these workers in the construction sector never a path to citizenship. No federal programs, having them to pay a fine, 1% of their salary. And then on top of that, allowing them to stay in those construction sites so they can continue being the drywall and everything that has to do with that industry. Everywhere I go, I hear the same thing. Housing costs are too high. Every time I talk to a home builder, I hear the same thing. They don't have enough hands to build those homes, and the Americans are waiting. According to the latest study from the Home Builders Institute and the National Association of Home Builders, labor shortages add more than 2 months to construction timelines, increases $13 billion annually for not having those hands. More than 20,000 single homes were never built last year because there were not enough hands on the field. Again and again and again, if you don't have the hands, then you don't have the structure, then that structure costs more, and then people who are waiting cannot live in their own home. It's simple. So we, in a bipartisan fashion, we are presenting to our leadership in both parties a solution specifically to our president. This is not amnesty. This is dignity. Dignity for the average American family who wants to own a home. Again, who builds the American homes? Immigrants do, in critical trades like drywall, roofing, plastering. Immigrants make up more than 60% of the workforce. These are people who are not taking jobs away from the Americans, because that's another of the arguments that I always hear. Well, you are trying to sponsor a legislation that is taking jobs away from the average American worker. It's not true. The average American worker has chosen not to participate in this type of activity. Drywall, roofing, plastering. That's why 60% of the workforce in those construction sites are either illegal or they are immigrants. Why? Because the average American has other choices that are a little bit more comfortable than putting drywall up or than roofing. I come from the city of Miami, where you have 93 degrees during probably 6 months of the year. Tell me, who would want to be on that roof under that sun, putting that tar? Because if you don't have a roof, you don't have a home, right? Because you cannot have a home with a roof. So you need roofers. And who does that? The illegals, the immigrants, the people who came here because they want to have an opportunity. Well, why don't we give them the opportunity to put that roof for that average American family who's going to buy that home? And that person is never going to become an American. That person does not have a criminal record, and that person is going to contribute to the American economy. Simple. Thank God that you guys have understood that. And to end so we can give opportunity to others to speak. Bottom line, more workers means more homes means lower cost means the American dream. The American dream is the Dignity Act, and basically we are writing this, like we wrote this legislation, so the average American can have dignity and live in their own homes. Thank you for the opportunity. May the Lord help us and help the President of the United States understand that this is his moment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman, for your leadership. Next, I'm honored to introduce from California, Mr. Salud Cabral.
Thank you very much. And let's just start on how you just saw an example of some of the disagreements we have, but at the end of the day, we come together and agree on the Dignity Act. I don't call it people that are here working hard illegal. I call them undocumented individuals contributing to our economy. We have some differences on some of the wording we use, but at the end of the day, we've come together on a very important step forward for immigration reform called Dignity. Thank you to the American Business Immigration Coalition Action and the Structural Building Components Association for bringing us together today. I represent the Central Coast of California, where, like in so many other regions across the country, the housing crisis has become so severe that even middle-income earners like nurses, teachers, police officers, and other professionals, let alone working families, can no longer find a place to live that fits their budgets. That's why reducing housing costs is a top priority for all of us. A major driver of the high prices is simple. We are not building enough homes. Years of under construction have left our country with a severe housing shortage that we also call a crisis, pushing home prices and rents record high. If we want to bring down costs, we must increase the supply. But one of the biggest roadblocks is the shortage of construction workers. Many of you here today know firsthand how this workforce gap slows down projects and drives up costs. For many years, immigrant workers have been essential in filling the gap. In fact, immigrants make up about 1/3, let me repeat that, 1/3 of construction industry workforce. They are a critical part of the housing economy. Unfortunately, the administration's current chaotic approach to immigration policy is not only harmful, it fails to provide the stability and workforce support that American home builders need to succeed. To truly fix the problem, we need common sense immigration reform. That's why I'm proud to be an original co-sponsor of the Bipartisan Dignity Act with Representatives Maria Salazar and Veronica Escobar. I will be the first to say that this is not a perfect solution or a perfect bill. As you know, we have many disagreements across the aisle, but it's great when we can come together and find that common denominator, that common ground, and we feel that this is that. This legislation will offer undocumented immigrants who are already living here and positively contributing to our economy, paying taxes, a path to legal status and protection. It will bolster border infrastructure and security, and it modernizes our outdated immigration system by expanding lawful pathways, improving asylum processing, and reducing the visa backlog. These are concrete, practical solutions to build a better and fair immigration system, and these solutions are urgently needed. Home builders and other businesses and other business leaders cannot continue delaying projects or scaling back down plans because of a broken immigration system. I remain committed to working across the aisle to get this legislation passed and signed into law because our economy, our communities, our families depend on it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Congressman. And next we'll have Mr. Adam Gray from the great state of California.
Adam.
Well, thank you, Tom. Good morning. It's great to be here with my colleagues. Adam Gray from California's 13th Congressional District. I represent the largest and most productive agricultural region in the world. And I underscore that. We feed most of not only this country, but much throughout the world. And we have some of the hardest working people in the country. And it's a valley really of immigrants, whether you're a Dutch American, a Portuguese American, a Mexican American, an Indian American. People have come to the valley for generations to build a better life. provide an opportunity for themselves, for their families. And in Washington, and we've heard some of it today, whether we're talking about the word undocumented or the word illegal, Washington loves to spend a lot of time in extreme partisan nonsense instead of just working hard like the people I represent do, right? Coming together, finding common ground. And I want to thank my colleagues who have had the courage to stand up here today to step out of that constant catering to the extremes in the Republican Party, the extremes in the Democratic Party, and actually say, we can solve problems. Can we solve every problem perfectly? Well, maybe not. But each and every day we're given a choice to make progress. And if we can make progress on the Dignity Act, and there's no reason we shouldn't bring this bill up on the floor right now, whether the president agrees or not, and move it forward and apply pressure and say there are hardworking Americans, there are hardworking immigrants across the world who want to come here, make a better life for their families. The Dignity Act provides status, border security and status, dignity. This is an easy concept to wrap our arms around. I thank my colleagues for showing some political courage this morning, and I look forward to bringing this bill onto the House floor and voting to make America a fair and freer place. Thank you so much.
All right, now we'll do Q&A from members of the press. Any questions?
Yes, you did.
Anybody? Yes, go ahead.
You know how many times Ronald Reagan presented the legislation that finally was signed into law? Simpson-Mazzoli? How many times? 3 times, right? Three times. So we are doing very well. We are doing well. I mean, passing a massive bill like this one, fixing a problem 40 years, where everyone has a different opinion of what the word dignity means. We're right on time. Because that's why I always say, we have a big leader in the White House called Donald Trump, who can definitely push this forward within the United States House of Representatives, the Senate, and sign it. He can. And that's why I've been telling the White House, and I've been, everyone is very courteous. Everyone has received this legislation well. I cannot say that, I've had you've seen it, I've had some great pushback from my own colleagues within the GOP conference in the House of Representatives. Welcome to democracy. This does not happen in Iran, right? We have the Ayatollahs have the final word. So I understand it's uncomfortable, but it's beautiful. It will get done, and it depends on the president. And he is instrumental in this war.
Let me just say that what Adam Gray said about, so many of us pandering to the base, the extremes on the right, the extremes on the left. I think that most Americans, and quite frankly, most members of Congress are sick of that.
Yes.
And I think the closer we get to November, the more, and past the primaries, where people are worried about the base voting in the primaries, the more likely we're going to be able to try and find some compromise to get something done here. The president could have a great legacy on this issue with securing the border and going after people that have committed violent crimes. But it's being squandered right now. He's squandering his legacy by these, masked men breaking windows and people's families getting broken up. And if we can figure out how to promote the Dignity Act or legislation similar to that, where people are legalized and are able to work here and stop living in fear and stop having families separated from each other, the president could accomplish something very great for our country and for our legacy and for his legacy. And I think it would be a tremendous amount of bipartisan support for that. I don't think it's going to be originated from the leadership of the House or the Senate. I think it's going to come the president recognizing that this is a problem in our country. Affordability is the one we're talking about today. Affordability of housing today needs to be addressed. And we need these immigrants to have legal work authorization to help lower the cost of housing. And if he wants to address those issues, secure his legacy, and get a huge bipartisan win, he'll push forward the Dignity Act.
And I agree with what he is saying. He comes from New York. He knows what he's talking about. we're giving both bipartisan, Dems and Republicans, we're giving President Trump, and he could be for immigration what Lincoln was for slavery. He could be for immigration what Lincoln was for slavery and Reagan was for communism. And like Tom is saying, he is hearing it, and I am sure he's an intelligent guy. He comes from construction in New York and from agricultural in Florida and hospitality in Florida. So this is the message that we're sending to the president. It's time, like Tom said, it's time for you to secure your legacy. Why don't you just say it one more time, so I'm sure that they will pick it up.
Right now, the president has secured the border. He's gone after people that are violent criminals, and I think that most Americans agree with that. But he's squandering his legacy. He's squandering his success by having these masked men and breaking down houses and breaking up families. He's blowing it.
Yes.
And he can secure his legacy if he would pass legislation to legalize people, to give them a sense of dignity and a lack of having to fear their own government.
And he will secure his name in the history books for the next 100 years.
Any other questions? Other questions you want to bring up? No? Okay. I know the members are available for one-on-one. And just to conclude our press conference, I am honored to introduce Chris Tate, who is the past president of the National Framers Council, a board member with SBCA, and a Wisconsin-based framer. Chris?
Thank you, Rebecca. Morning, everyone. My name's Chris Tachi. I'm a framing contractor based in Wisconsin. I'm the chair of the SBCA's Advocacy Committee and currently serving on the board of directors for the Structural Building Components Association as liaison for the National Framers Council. Through my work in the framing industry, I work closely with builders, component manufacturers, and construction crews in the Midwest. And I see firsthand the workforce challenges facing our industry. Larry laid out the critical role manufacturing plays in our industry. On the framing and installation side, we know that building a home takes a team of skilled tradespeople: framers, component manufacturers, plumbers, electricians, HVAC technicians, and many others all play a role turning a house into a home where families can create memories, build their lives, and grow together. But right now, there's a bottleneck on the ground. But right now, the biggest bottleneck on the ground is finding enough people to do the heavy lifting that makes the American dream of owning a house possible. Many experienced tradespeople are nearing retirement, and we're simply not attracting enough people into the skilled trades to replace them. And I see this every day. As a result, labor shortages continue to affect construction projects across the country. When projects take longer to complete, costs increase, and when housing takes longer to build, it takes longer for families to get access to the homes they need. Foreign-born workers are a vital part of the construction workforce. They help keep projects moving, help contractors meet demand, and help address workforce shortages that affect every segment of the industry. At the same time, we need to continue investing in the future of the trades. One of the most important aspects of the Dignity Act is addressing national security concerns. It helps strengthen the workforce our economy depends on and helps establish a pathway to developing the next generation of skilled professionals. We need more people to see construction as a rewarding career path, just as I have, and to recognize the tremendous opportunities available in the skilled trades. Housing affordability is not just a financing issue or a materials issue, it's also a workforce issue. If we want to build more homes and make more housing attainable, we need bills like the Dignity Act to help strengthen the construction workforce today while building the next generation of skilled trade professionals for tomorrow. That's why the SBCA is proud to partner with the American Business Immigration Coalition and support the Dignity Act and launch our National Housing Affordability Tour. On behalf of the entire advocacy network, I want to extend our sincere gratitude to the lawmakers showing true leadership on this issue today. Thank you for standing up for American manufacturing, our tradespeople, and our home buyers.
Thank you. This concludes our remarks today. If anyone's interested in speaking to some of the business leaders who are here, please catch us on the side. Thank you.